Hello. Critically important to get your colour scheme right with Cubase. Let's get into it. Project Colours Setup. This is the project menu. Project Colours Setup. So these are my project colours. Each one of these you can insert new colours. There's untitled colour, blah blah. We can duplicate that colour to have blah blah 2. We can remove the colour. We can reset the colour. We can change the colour. It's all very, very straightforward stuff. The colours that I do have appear here. And that's where we'll use the colours in our project. Let's go back here for a sec. So on the Options tab, Store Colour Set as Default, it currently is. If we select that, every time we open a new project, this palette will contain our colours. So let's have a look at what we've got. Go back over here. It's really very straightforward indeed. The 5 instrument types that we've dealt with previously, bass, guitar, keys, rhythm and vocals, are all represented here. But you'll see one wrinkle is that keys and rhythm have 2 entries. They've got a dark colour and a light colour. This is because of the way instrument tracks work. When you create an instrument track, this thing here that says Pad Shop 01 is the single track in Cubase that contains the VST instrument itself. If I click on that little button, then I get access to the instrument and I can edit its sound. But that VST instrument has CPU overhead and you don't want a different instance of a keyboard, of a VST for every single track of data that you create, and that's where MIDI tracks come in useful. So if I create a MIDI track underneath Pad Shop, you'll see that because I created it underneath while I had the Pad Shop track selected, it's automatically assigned this track to the same instrument. So now if I press notes on the keyboard, this is a MIDI track deriving its sound from its parent VST instrument. And so I differentiate the parent from the child with colour. This is the VST instrument itself, and the lighter colour here is the MIDI track. It's got a different symbol for the MIDI cable. And you can see over here that the MIDI track is routed to the Pad Shop VST. And it's a similar thing with the rhythm tracks. So here we have our Groove Agent track. Do we have any sound assigned at the moment? Yes, we do. If I create a MIDI track, again, automatically routes it to Groove Agent. But now can you see that this is green? Because it's created a MIDI track, the default colour for MIDI tracks in my setup is green. And so I have to recolorize that track. This wants to be pale blue because this is a rhythm MIDI track. Every track that we colorize up here gets similarly colored in the mix control. If you want your entire mixer strip to be the same color, go to Edit, Preferences, User Interface, Track and Mix Console, Channel Colors. Just tick all these boxes and then it'll make the whole track. This was a 10.5 change, I think, very recent, when the mix control went was colored all the way up the strip. Over here are our default colors. So when we created that MIDI track earlier, it was made light green because of these settings here. These are configured. You have to do these separately. It's a bit annoying. If you take the RGB value when you're setting up your template. Then when you come to make your colours, let's cancel this out for a moment. Over here, you just need to use the same RGB colour. I haven't found a way to make those two things automatically map across. So that's a little bit of fiddle to get those set up, but it's really not that much trouble. So you set up all your default colours in this user interface section. Those are the main colours. I think I've just basically done these track type default colours, which I actually need to revisit because I've just seen that effect there is purple, and I've recently renamed effects to be orange. So I'll have to go back in and fix these. These are the colours I use now. And if I create a track and it's the wrong colour, I'll just colorize it from here. It seems a trivial thing, and it really isn't the end of the world, but it is actually very useful when you've got lots of tracks. When this gets beyond 20, 30, 40 tracks and you're scrolling across, to be able to visualize chunks of color really helps. And I also make sure that my buses are the same color as the instruments that they're being fed by. That's a very recent change that I've made. I used to have group tracks a separate color. I no longer do. All of this stuff up here, obviously these are all the metadata options. So we don't have any FX tracks in this project, but we do have signature, tempo and marker tracks. Those are the light blue ones, and then other is just for other stuff. So we've got scales and chord track and the like. Anything that you create that doesn't fit into one of the other standard defined colours, I just mark as other. I don't want to get too carried away. It gets to the point where if every track's a different colour, it loses its value. You need some kind of stability to be able to make sense of what you're seeing. So that's colours. You can get the whole thing configured in half an hour just by having a wander around in this section down here in the user interface, get your basic colours set up. Like I say, I need to fix some of them. Then go into your project, colours setup, create these, set it as your default, and you're away. And that's it. And then from that point onwards, every song that you create, you'll have this palette and you'll be able to colorize the tracks to your heart's content. Really useful, definitely worth the time. That's all for this video. In the next video, we'll deal with this top strip, and then that will be it for the main generic default template interface. Hope to see you then. Thanks very much for watching.